the 1986 album Control that she struck gold.
Janet Jackson finally reveals shocking secrets about Michael's life that the world never knew. Janet claimed that Michael forced her to help him fake his death. What really happened behind the scenes of his fame and struggles? Why Michael want to fake his death? This will change everything you thought you knew. Let's take a closer look.
When I was 7, I don't ever remember being asked. I just remember doing it. As far as making music, we had a studio at home growing up, and whatever time of night, day, couldn't sleep at night, you'd go in the studio and you'd just create music, put something down if you had an idea.
Before we move forward, let's go back to where it all started. In the small town of Gary, Indiana, 1958, the Jackson story began in a tiny 2-bedroom house where dreams were as big as their family. Michael Jackson grew up with 9 brothers and sisters, all squeezed into a home where music played from morning until night. Their mother spent her days playing clarinet and piano, holding onto her own dreams of becoming a country singer. Joe, their father, worked hard as a crane operator and had been a boxer, skills that showed in his tough approach to raising his children. The house may have been small, but it was always filled with sound, singing, dancing, and the constant practice that would one day make the Jacksons famous. Every corner of their home held memories of early performances, shared dreams, and the strict discipline that shaped their future. Growing up as a Jackson meant living a very different life from other kids in Gary. While neighborhood children played games and went to school, the Jackson children spent hours practicing their singing and dancing. Their father, Joe, made sure they never wasted a minute. Every spare moment was spent rehearsing. The family's tight living space meant there was no privacy, but it also created strong bonds between the siblings. They shared everything: clothes, toys, and the dream of something bigger than their small town could offer. Music wasn't just something they did for fun. It was their whole life, their ticket to a better future, and the thing that kept them together through hard times. Joe's strict rules and harsh punishments became a dark cloud that hung over their childhood memories. By 1963, the Jackson 5 had started performing at local talent shows, with 5-year-old Michael already showing signs of being a natural star.
Creeping up on the backside of you here. Oh. Kip, I've got a little bit of a problem with this microphone. It's all snagged in the back, so I'm going to take this one if that's all right with you. Would you make a fast change? Hello, hello. How about that? I'll put this over here. It's one of these formal shows where we do everything. Would you be kind enough to introduce me to your brothers, starting with the gentleman on the end with, is it a bass or a guitar? I can't see. Guitar.
Guitar. Okay, first we have...
Can I get with you on the mic just every now and again, you know?
Toriano Jackson.
It's nice to see you. Who's the man over here?
Marlon.
Hi. And the next man?
And Jackie.
Hello, Jack.
Jermaine.
Hi. Now, let me ask you a question. I'm going to steal it. I feel very naked without a microphone. I've been holding one of these things, punching it at people for a long time. 2 gentlemen in the back are not your brothers, though they're related, are they not?
Right.
The little boy with the big voice and amazing dance moves quickly became the center of attention. They performed in clubs where children shouldn't have been allowed, staying up late into the night when they should have been sleeping. Janet remembers watching her older brother work harder than anyone else, always trying to please their father. The spotlight became Michael's home, but it also became his prison. He never experienced normal childhood things. No playing in the park, no casual friendships, no time to just be a kid. Instead, he lived under the constant pressure of performing, always having to be perfect, always having to be on. These early years would shape everything that came after. But wait, there is more. As the Jackson 5 grew more famous, Michael's talent pushed him further into the spotlight. They had hit songs like I Want You Back and ABC, touring the country and appearing on television shows. But behind the matching outfits and synchronized dance moves, Janet says Michael was struggling. The pressure to maintain their success weighed heavily on him. He couldn't make mistakes or show weakness. Joe wouldn't allow it. Even as teenagers, the Jackson children lived with strict rules and high expectations. Michael particularly felt the burden of being the group's star, knowing that one misstep could bring his father's anger or disappointment. The joy of performing began to mix with fear and anxiety, creating a pattern that would follow him throughout his life. When Michael went solo, his fame reached heights no one had seen before. Thriller became the biggest album in history, and he truly became the king of pop. Janet reveals that this success came with an even heavier price. Michael started changing his appearance, taking pain medication, and struggling to sleep. He built Neverland Ranch as his own fantasy world, trying to create the childhood he never had. Janet would visit him there, watching as her brother tried to find happiness among his rides and animals. But even in this magical place he created, Michael couldn't escape his inner demons. The pressure of maintaining his image, dealing with the media, and living up to everyone's expectations became too much to bear. Michael's marriages, first to Lisa Marie Presley and then to Debbie Rowe, showed his desperate search for connection and normalcy. Janet shares that her brother deeply wanted a family of his own, to be the loving father he never had. His children, Prince, Paris, and Blanket, brought him real joy, but even this happiness was complicated by his fame. He covered their faces in public, trying to protect them from the spotlight that had damaged him so much. The media criticized these choices, adding to Michael's growing paranoia and isolation. Janet watched as her brother became more withdrawn, more dependent on medication to cope with his daily struggles. The accusations that came later shattered what was left of Michael's peace. Janet reveals that during these dark times, her brother would call her late at night, crying and scared. He felt like the whole world was against him, that no one understood or believed in him anymore. The trial and public scrutiny broke something in him that never really healed. His dependence on various medications grew stronger as he tried to escape his pain and find sleep. Janet tried to help, but watching her brother suffer while feeling powerless to stop it broke her heart.
Right after Michael died, you said, and many of your family members said, that you held him accountable. You've been in the courtroom, and I can't imagine how emotional that had to be for you. Do you still feel as strongly about his culpability now as you did then?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. I do. I really do. That's tough. That's tough, though, sitting in a courtroom.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you about that, because I can see some families who would not be able to do it and others who'd say, whatever it takes, we are going to be there. And your family has taken that route. I mean, you've been in there, your mom's been there, other siblings. Why has that been important for your family to be there for those preliminary hearings?
I mean, it's my brother. It's my blood. He's no longer here because of X, Y, and Z. I think it's important to every family who's lost someone.
Then came the shocking conversation that Janet has kept secret until now. She says Michael approached her with a plan to fake his death, to escape the never-ending pressure and start fresh somewhere new. He was tired of living under constant scrutiny, tired of the accusations, tired of never being able to just be himself. The plan showed how desperate he had become, looking for any way out of the life that had once been his dream, but had become his prison. Janet describes the pain and confusion she felt, wanting to help her brother, but knowing the enormous consequences of such a decision. In his final days, Michael was preparing for his This Is It tour, but Janet says he was more fragile than ever. The pressure of performing again, the financial stress, and his ongoing health issues created a perfect storm of anxiety and depression. He was taking more and more medications just to function, just to sleep. Janet noticed how thin and tired he looked, how his hands would shake, and how his usual spark seemed dimmed. She wanted to help, but didn't know how to reach him anymore. Today, Janet wants people to understand the real Michael, not just the superstar everyone thought they knew. She describes a gentle soul who got lost in the machinery of fame, a loving brother who carried wounds from their childhood until the end. His story serves as a tale about the price of fame, especially when it comes too early in life. Janet hopes that by sharing these truths, people will see Michael as human, someone who brought joy to millions while battling his own deep pain and loneliness. The legacy of Michael Jackson remains complicated. On one side stands his incredible talent, his revolutionary music and dance, and his generous charitable work. On the other side are the struggles Janet has revealed, the childhood trauma, the isolation of fame, and the desperate plan to escape it all. Through her revelations, we see a more complete picture of a man who gave everything to entertain the world, but lost himself in the process. His story, as told through his sister's eyes, reminds us that even the biggest stars are human, carrying their own burdens and fighting their own battles.
In the vast landscape of country music, few friendships have been as profound and enduring as that of Willie Nelson and Kris Kristofferson. As the autumn leaves fell in 2023, Willie Nelson, at 91, found himself the last standing member of the legendary Highwaymen, following the passing of his dear friend Kris Kristofferson at 88. He was born in 1936 in Brownsville, Texas. Kris Kristofferson emerged from a background steeped in military tradition. The son of Air Force General Lars Henry Kristofferson, young Kris seemed destined for a military career. His early life was marked by academic excellence and athletic prowess. He was a Golden Gloves boxer and a talented football player. The path to stardom took an unexpected turn when he became a Rhodes Scholar, studying literature at Oxford University. After Oxford, Kristofferson fulfilled his family's military legacy, serving as a helicopter pilot in the U.S. Army and achieving the rank of captain. However, his heart yearned for something different. The call of music was too strong to ignore. His bold spirit would later manifest in one of country music's most legendary tales, landing a helicopter in Johnny Cash's backyard to pitch him a song. Meanwhile, Willie Nelson, born in Abbott, Texas in 1933, was charting his own course through the music industry. Raised by his grandparents during the Great Depression, Nelson found solace in music from an early age. He wrote his first song at age 7 and was performing in local bands by age 10. His journey took him through stint as a disc jockey, a door-to-door salesman of encyclopedias and vacuum cleaners, and finally to Nashville, where he began to make his mark as a songwriter. The 1960s marked a pivotal time for both artists. Kristofferson was working as a janitor at Columbia Records in Nashville, writing songs in his spare time that would later become classics. His breakthrough came when Roger Miller recorded Me and Bobby McGee in 1969, followed by Johnny Cash's recording of Sunday Morning Coming Down, which won the Country Music Association's Song of the Year in 1970.
Baton Rouge, heading for the train, feeling nearly faded as my jeans. Bobby thumbed the diesel down just before it rained. Took us all the way to New Orleans. I pulled my harpoon out of my dirty red bandana, blowing sad while Bobby sang the blues. With them windshield wipers slapping time and Bobby clapping hands, we finally sang up every song that driver knew. Freedom just another word for nothing left to do. Nothing ain't worth nothing, but it's free.
Nelson, meanwhile, was struggling against the polished Nashville sound. His unorthodox phrasing and jazz-influenced guitar playing didn't fit the traditional country music mold. By the early 1970s, both men had become part of a movement that would be known as outlaw country, a rebellion against the slick production and strict conventions of Nashville's music establishment. Behind the success, both men faced their share of personal demons. Kristofferson battled with alcohol, at one point consuming a bottle and a half of Jack Daniels daily. This addiction cost him his helicopter pilot job when he passed out at the controls and contributed to the end of his marriage to singer Rita Coolidge. Nelson, too, had his struggles, facing significant tax problems with the IRS in the 1990s and various legal issues related to marijuana possession. Yet these challenges seemed to strengthen rather than weaken their friendship, creating a bond of understanding that went beyond music. In 1985, country music witnessed a legendary moment when four of its biggest stars, Willie Nelson, Kris Kristofferson, Johnny Cash, and Waylon Jennings, came together to form the Highwaymen. The supergroup's formation wasn't a carefully planned business venture, but rather a natural evolution that began during an impromptu recording session at Johnny Cash's house. The four friends had gathered to record Jimmy Webb's Highwayman, and something magical happened when their distinct voices blended together. As Nelson would later remember, the magic was instant. 4 different voices, 4 different styles, but somehow it all worked perfectly. This spontaneous collaboration led to their first album, aptly titled Highwayman, which soared to the top of the Billboard Country Albums chart. The title track became a #1 hit, establishing the Highwaymen as more than just a gathering of solo stars. They had become a formidable musical force in their own right. The Highwaymen's journey went far beyond their initial success, spanning 3 remarkable albums and countless tours through the late 1980s and into the 1990s. But what made this supergroup truly special wasn't just their chart-topping hits, it was the deep brotherhood that formed between these 4 legendary artists. Their chemistry extended naturally to the silver screen with their collective acting debut in the 1986 remake of The Stagecoach. The film showcased not just their musical talents, but their natural on-screen rapport, proving their connection transcended any single medium. Lisa Christopherson captured the essence of their relationship perfectly when she said it was a decade of rolling laughter and love. The magic didn't end when the stage lights dimmed. After shows, these 4 icons would gather together, trading stories and songs in intimate sessions that became the stuff of country music legend. These weren't just post-show meetings. They were gatherings of kindred spirits who found in each other a shared understanding of music, life, and friendship. Their touring years created countless unforgettable moments, weaving a tapestry of memories that would bind these 4 friends together for life. The turn of the millennium brought profound changes. Waylon Jennings' health began to decline due to diabetes, leading to his death in 2002. Johnny Cash, still grieving for his wife June Carter, Cash followed in 2003. The loss of their bandmates hit Nelson and Christopherson hard, but their friendship remained strong. In the years that followed, both men continued to perform and record. Christopherson released several acclaimed albums, including This Old Road and Closer to the Bone. However, health issues began to take their toll. In his later years, Christopherson faced what was initially diagnosed as Alzheimer's disease, but was later discovered to be Lyme disease. April 2023 marked a poignant moment in their story when Christopherson made his final public performance at Nelson's 90th birthday celebration.
Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me.
Do you have a favorite memory? Off the stage, Kris smiled and recognized the crowd with a salute and a fist to the heart, and then a thumbs up. Gosh, if that was his final moment on stage, what a gift.
Performing alongside Rosanne Cash, daughter of their late bandmate Johnny Cash, Christopherson showed that even in his final days, the magic was still there. The performance served as a beautiful bookend to their decades-long musical partnership. On September 28, 2023, Kris Christopherson passed away peacefully at his home in Maui, Hawaii. The news hit Nelson particularly hard. "I hated to lose him," he told the Associated Press. "He left a lot of fantastic songs around for the rest of us to sing for as long as we're here."
He left a lot of fantastic songs around for the rest of us to sing for as long as we're here, Nelson said. Kris was a great friend of mine. And, we just kind of had a lot of fun together and made a lot of music together. Videos, movies. I hated to lose him. That was a sad time.
Now, as the sole surviving member of the Highwaymen, Willie Nelson carries their collective legacy. He continues to perform Christopherson's songs, sharing stories of their friendship with audiences around the world. The impact of their collaboration extends far beyond their recordings. It helped shape the direction of country music and inspired countless artists who followed. Lisa Christopherson's words perhaps best capture the essence of the Highwaymen's brotherhood. Audiences adored them, but they couldn't know how great those men really were together behind the scenes. John and Kris's last words to each other were, "I love you." Same to Waylon. That's rare for men, and it was real. At 91, Nelson continues to tour and record, carrying the torch for his fallen brothers in music. If you just take the music part of it and go back to, Waylon and Kris and John and all of us working together as the Highwaymen, and then I am the only one left, and that's just not funny. he said. The story of Willie Nelson and Kris Kristofferson represents more than just a musical partnership. It's a testament to the power of genuine friendship in an often superficial industry. Their legacy lives on, not just in their recordings, but in the countless lives they touched through their music and the doors they opened for future generations of musicians. As the sun sets on this chapter of country music history, Willie Nelson stands as the last highwayman, keeping alive the memory of his brothers in music through every performance, every story, and every song. In doing so, he ensures that the spirit of their friendship and their contribution to American music will never be forgotten.